Hello, Lily. This is Matthew Rodney, and I'm applying for the strength and conditioning role for British Sailing. So, tell you a bit about myself. I've got the International Sports Science Association Strength and Conditioning accreditation. I'm currently on the UKSCA accreditation. I've been an associate member for well over 10 years, but I'm working towards the UKSC accreditation. I've done 2 modules and I've got 2 more to do, which I hope to do complete and become accredited before Paris 2024. That was my goal at the start of 2023. So I'm halfway towards that goal because I've got 2 modules left. Oh, sorry, 1 module in my final assessment. But I've been doing strength conditioning for, 10 years since I finished my sports science degree, which I did at University of Wolverhampton. And I've since done a master's in international sport management. So I know both sides. So I know the coaching side and I know like the team management side. The biggest thing that I achieved was obviously the periodization. And that's what we'll get to when I answer these questions. So for question 1, what is it about strength and conditioning coaching that you're passionate about? So when I first started, which was about 2005, my goal was to create such an environment of excellence, where the athletes coming in would be way better and almost world class when they go out. And I managed to secure some funding from a then England manager or a previous England manager. And I really achieved that through taking basically street kids and turning them into where they could become near enough semi-professional footballers. And some of them, one had a trial at Arsenal, one had a trial in Germany in Hoffenheim. And that's because they went through my system, which I'd created of periodization, training to peak, and that type of thing, plyometrics, introducing more strength training to their programs and mapping what they were doing. So my passion came from, we're going way back now to the 90s, where I met Sir Trevor Brooking, who's an ex-West Ham player. And he said, once you pass 14, if you're not a footballer by the age of 14, then the chances of you then making it are quite tough. So I challenged that. I said, I don't know, with modern science and stuff like that, I think we could elongate that. That has been proved in the USA, because obviously, yes, players play younger, but as they get older, they come through the college system where they get fitter, stronger. They have strength and conditioning programs. It's in the gym. It's like based on the football, the School of Hard Knocks, the program that they do in the football. So when they started doing that with soccer, American players began to become a bit more competent. Maybe not as skillful, but definitely as fit, if not fitter. So because I lived through that and I played in the USA and I was part of the USA, coaching system, I always wanted to create my own understanding of what the environment of excellence is. So my passion grew from. I also wrote not a book, but like a journal. Sorry, wrote a journal regarding sporting model of success. And in that, as I said, I drew, or I worked it was part of my dissertation. I worked it how players will peak and trough, and how it's you can't expect players to play their best for 38 matches a year, or in some cases 60 matches a year if you're an international player as well. So I did my dissertation periodization plan on for Frank Lampard, who was at Chelsea at the time. And I think that season, he played just over 62 to 64 games if you include England friendlies, England matches, FA Cup, Champions League. So I know it works. So I knew that periodization worked, but I also knew that training to peak worked. I also knew that introducing intervention worked. So, for example, that you might need to, the intervention might be rest because you're training too hard. So if you got a game on a Wednesday and a game on a Saturday, then having a, even though you're in your mind, you're saying, I really want to work on the Thursday, you might need some rest and recuperation. So I introduced hydrotherapy. So like jet massaging and stuff like that. So which really relaxed the muscles he felt to relax the muscles along with sports massage. So it was an intervention, might only be small, but we're talking a world-class player in the smallest of denominators, smallest of interventions. So he might only have given 1 to 3%, but it was a percentage. So, so my passion came from always trying to look for those elements of where I could provide some kind of success, some kind of change, some element of intervention that would invite an improvement. I then moved into tennis. So I was manager of University of Birmingham football team for 5 years. And then I moved. And even then, the reason why we were so successful in the period of time that I was there was because my focus was always about fitness. It was always about, our training sessions were quite tough. And it was fitness, as well as skill. But I did like to really push the fitness. So there was that. And then, so the next thing was we went into tennis and tennis and athletics. So I worked at London 2012. So I was on the warm-up track of the Olympic Stadium. I worked for the full period of time that was there. There's a warm-up track, and there was a strength and conditioning gym there. I won't bore you with all the names and people that I saw and met and trained with or whatever it was. So I was there. Maybe some of you people might recognise me, hopefully. And so my passion again came from what are we working towards? What's the goal? If you want to win, let's work towards winning. If you want to take part, let's work towards taking part. But what is your goal? For me, it was so important to understand what the athlete's goal was and look into the athlete's eyes and understand what the athlete really wanted to do. So that to me was really important. So we worked on that. So that was 2012. I had my own business from 2015 till about 2019 when I was working within tennis. And again, that was based, my interventions were based on plyometrics, training to peak, rest, coming out of season, in season, drawing out the full periodization program for each player. And it was really successful. I got players to play international tournaments. So we were successful with that. So my passion is truly based on my ability to improve a person, my ability to identify what that person needs. It's not what you want to do. It's not what you want to do. It's what you need to do. So that's where my energy and enthusiasm really came from. So question 2, a specific experience where you have provided strength conditioning support to an athlete that has created impact and change. So I give you an example. Speed and acceleration, speed, agility. So one thing that I was footwork, foot speed. So in order for me to, and with my athlete, who I took to an international tournament, and she got to the final, but unfortunately couldn't play the final because she was, we'd already booked the flight to go back and they couldn't change the time. So it was a bit of a shame. But, I took a girl who didn't really believe or understand that she could become a tennis player. And then I took her to a place where she actually could see that this could work, because she beat one of the best players, or one of the best juniors in the world at the time, age 15/16. So what I introduced to her program was speed endurance. I knew that she had all the skill. She could serve, she could hit the ball, she had all the ground strokes, all of that sort of thing. But what she couldn't do is move. What she couldn't do specifically is the foot speed just wasn't fast enough. So what I introduced was speed endurance. And introducing a number of times that her feet would hit the floor in between the ball. So she would have, for example, a 2-3 pattern. So it'd be like a split step and a 1-2 step to the ball. Yeah. And it's not enough. And then if she wasn't quite there, she would reach. Yeah. So afterwards, which is why we got to the point where we got to, was that we had a 5-7 pattern. So she probably had a 2-3 pattern turned into a 5-7 pattern. And in that's what I mean, where she'd have what I'd call adjustment steps, which she just totally didn't do before. And we got that with a 10-meter cone drill, and we just replicate again and again and again. Then I'd add a ball in, then I'd add a target in, then I'd add an opposing player in. So each time I'd increase the level of difficulty, and it transferred into almost winning a tournament. Once you realised that was the key. You can hit the ball as hard as you want. You need to move. Yeah. So once I introduced that, we nearly got some success. My role was the coach, the overall coach, because I was the only coach. I was strength and conditioning coach and tennis coach. Well, they're the only two, and psychological coach. So what we used to do, so our typical day would be train in the morning, play our competitive match, cool down, which would be an hour on the track, bringing the heart rate down. We'd eat, then we'd debrief. So we'd go through all the psychology from the day, what we learned. And that level of input just grew and grew and grew and grew and grew and got better for her. Key points in the timeline. So we knew we was going in the December. So we went in the December, and we started working with each other in the September. So I knew that I had September, October, November, and the early part of December. So 3 months. So my micro was each session. My meso was obviously for the 3 months, and the I've got it wrong now. Which way round is it now? I should know off the top of my head, shouldn't I? But my brain's gone blank. So yeah. So basically, I'll get to you in a minute. Mesocycle. Meso. Macro. Micro. There we go. Right. So micro is the small each program. Meso, yes. So I did get it right. So meso was like a week block or a month block or whatever it was, and macro is the whole thing. Right. So yeah. So I knew that I had 3 months or 3.5 months to the tournament. So that's when I got to really build it up and really work on each component, work on each macro session. And to be fair, they came all the way up from Bristol to Birmingham to train at the indoor centre, the strength and conditioning centre at Alexander Stadium. And they were brilliant. So we knew that we had whatever it was, so 4, 8, 12. We knew that we had a minimum of 12 sessions plus what she would do in the week, which I would orchestrate. And so the most thing, what I enjoyed about the experience is working with the player and using those high performance techniques, showing them the mindset. One of the biggest things is the mindset. We can get nutrition right, we can get fitness right, we can get muscle striation and all that. We can get all that right, but we need to work on the psychology, and that's one of the things that I really worked on with this player. And so, you know, it was a really good experience, and to nearly win it as well in our first tournament that we had together was something special, and something that me and the mum still talk about to this day. Right, question 3. So what excites me about the role? What excites me about the role? 3 things. One is I set myself a goal at the start of 2023, and that was that I wanted to be at Paris 2024. And I'm going to work my absolute hardest. This is my goal. Work my absolute hardest to be there. Paris is my favourite city, and it's a goal, and I've got to be part of that Olympics. So that was my goal. So that's what I'm working towards. The second thing is, my dad used to have a yacht when I was younger, and I used to sail. I used to go to Edgbaston Reservoir and sail. I'm not a good sailor, but I used to sail. And we went sailing at HMS Portsmouth as well, as part of the Sea Cadet. So I was in the Sea Cadet. So we used to do this sailing. So I sailed for a good 3 to 4 years. 3 to 4 years, admittedly as a junior. But I think the strengths that I would bring to the role would be A, my energy and enthusiasm. B, the fact that I would be looking for things all the time of how you can stay fitter for longer, how you can, what parts of the periodization plan can we really focus on so that you can peak at the right time, so that obviously you can have good training sessions or great training sessions in an environment of excellence, but also you can learn to peak when at competition. So obviously before the Olympics, you'll have pre-competitions, of which some you may need to peak for, some you may just need to qualify, some you may need to get a good time in order to achieve your goal. My thing for me is that you wouldn't want anything to interfere with that, achieving that task. So nutrition, periodization, your training, peak times, or your fitness, your energy levels, all of that should be under control or in control. You can't control the wind, anything like that. That's down to your skill. That's down to how you manipulate and use what's available to you. I would make sure that no stone is left unturned. There's nothing left to chance. The only chance is things that we can't control. Anything that we can control, we're scoring 10 out of. So that would be my focus, and that would be the strength that I would bring. So thank you very much. I'd love to answer any questions that you have, and thank you.